they haven't shown their face.
They haven't shown their face, so if they haven't shown their face, then they've had to communicate some way with whoever to start this.
Yeah, I believe that was.
Yeah. So if they've,
email.
for example, if they've sent an email, right? All emails have a header. You don't necessarily see that header on the email when you send it, right? It's there. It's on your computer. It's up in the top of the screen. It's in the box, whatever, right? If you happen to print that email, the header is on the top, and it's a whole series of numbers and letters or whatever, and it's a timestamp. It's an origin or whatever, and it can identify things like IP addresses, all sorts of information, and you know, when you start playing with departments, not so much possibly like the DSWD, but when you start playing with departments like the NBI, boy do they know their stuff, because, and I'll pose a question to you, right? If I say the word hacker, what does that mean to you?
Well, usually something unlawful.
So it's somebody doing something illegal.
Yeah, someone who's intruding onto somebody's private.
Okay, right. It is actually a term we most commonly hear for somebody doing something illegally, right? Places like the FBI, the Australian Federal Police, for example, the English, all these governments, right? They use hackers, and they are very, very good. And these people can trace all sorts of stuff, and they work for them. And in a lot of cases, these people have come from where they were doing something illegally, and then they've decided, yeah, hey, I can make a good living out of this doing something where I'm going to actually get paid for it. And yeah, it's surprising how quickly they can do it. It's a very, very, very interesting world when you start getting into cyberspace. It's Do you see a time, this is a wish that obviously from where we're experiencing life at the moment, do you see a time when people who are right now have the cloak of invisibility, of anonymity, and just by taking on another name, like Peter Smith, they can say whatever they want without any accountability? Do you see that? Is there possibly a time? No.
Can I pray?
No.
Can I pray?
There was once upon a time where they possibly could have done that, because it took so long to actually identify who they were.
Well, that's what I mean. You should have said yes.
That time has long gone.
Right.
Right. So now, with the people they have and the speed of the computers they have today, right? They can find out who they want to find out fairly quickly. So it's just a case of, do they want to? Once they sniff the blood, they will find them. It's something like what people don't realise is that if these people are travellers, for example, if they're just going through an airport, now it could even be a domestic flight. Let's say they're living in the Philippines and they get on a plane in Manila and they're coming to wherever, right? And as they go through security, excuse me, so we just want to check there's something in your bag, could we just check that? While they're checking that, they've downloaded your computer because they wanted to. They've already picked you out as to who they want. They can read your phone, they can, and I've, I can't really say it out of school, but yeah, they can remotely turn your mobile phone on.
Wow.
That's the technology that's available today.
So, in other words, you do think that what I was praying would happen eventually has probably already happened, that people can be traced even from what they think of is an anonymous email.
Oh,
I mean, for instance, what about all of the comments on the hate channels? And all of those comments are made by... Yeah,
the actual comments that are on the hate channels or whatever, what you've got to go with is you've got to go by the username, right? And most of the time, it just amuses me something terrible. that people can actually go on these channels and say something, but I'm going to hide behind a name that I'm going to make up because I'm not brave enough to say it with my own name, because I'm not prepared to stand up for myself. You know,
Yeah.
People can see me on your channel when I comment. My name's there. You can find me quite easily. In fact, Google it. I'm not famous, but there is enough there on Google about me. And of course, then it will go into all sorts of other things. You know, my usernames, which you would think would be anonymous or whatever, right? Aren't, because all those usernames are attached to my name in some shape or form.
Right. So, do you think that it would seem to me, I'm not an investigator, but it would seem to me that by seeing usernames which are common to different channels and where names are mentioned of people, then this all goes into some kind of computer application which will make some sense of that.
Yeah.
You know, that it will process, like when they do research, they get a terrific amount of information, and the information keeps coming in, and then they go into a stage where the computer processes what it has.
Yep.
And it comes up with, well, a possible, for instance, they've typed in a lot of information worldwide, and then they create a computer model about what 20 years might look like. Actually, on that, it hasn't been good.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and it all comes down to timelines too. So let's say you have a hater channel, right? You've got your hater channel, which I've never seen, but anyway, they're obviously out there. When somebody posts, it's usually an indicator of where they are in the world.
Right, because of the time zones.
The time zone, right? So
especially if they
regularly,
yeah.
right? And so, for instance, if you looked at the time zones of when I've posted on your channel,
yes.
right, you'll probably always see that it's in the evening, but it's a 2-hour time difference to here,
right.
for example, that I'm doing it.
And everybody can see what the time that you posted that, can't they?
Yeah, it's on there.
The actual time.
Yeah. But on YouTube, I think it now comes up with 1 day ago, 3 weeks ago, or whatever. But it's on there.
Yeah.
And so there's all sorts of information on that, because I know just from the forum that I'm part of, we know that some people come up at different times because we know the time zone they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're in Europe, whether they're in the United States, or wherever.
Yeah.
So you know where they are.
Mm.
And with mine's ever changing, because mine's like at the moment I'd be posting from the Philippines.
Yes.
But I've also noted that on there. People know where I am because they follow what I do.
So we're looking at accountability.
Yeah, definitely.
Being held accountable for the things that you say.
The only way for this to go further, right, for them, is they have to be identified. For them to actually. For them
to
promote
say
this
that, to say that
they
their
have to stand up,
are true.
and go, hey, it's me. This is what I'm accusing them of.
Right, and then some evidence would have to be provided.
Of course.
Yeah. So, what is your impression on us?
As I've said before, it's one thing I do in life is I always prepare for the worst and I hope for the best. So I'm prepared for all sorts of eventualities, because when you're in a legal or court situation, it's constantly fluid. You've got to have that ability to change, but you've got to leave yourself the room to move. And by having all your information there, which you have, right? When they come up with something, you go, well, that's a lie.
Right.
And there's the thing, that the moment you prove that they are actually telling a lie, from then on, nothing they say is believable.
Right.
That's how it works. I've been in enough court situations to know that. You know, like it's part of what I used to do.
But for instance, what you were saying about when they go on shows where they are, is this to be held on international law, or supposing people that are accusing us are actually Americans, even if they're in the US,
Well, that's
they can
the
still
thing.
be held accountable?
Well, quite
Okay.
possibly, because I know that the NBI would only be an offshoot or have been set up by the FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would they have such a similar? This whole country's run under that.
The
You know,
American influence.
yeah, exactly. So you know, there's no two ways that they would be talking, because
Right.
and yeah, if they're local, I would be extremely worried, because I
You would
be,
think that they should be extremely worried.
oh yes, yeah. No, I was talking
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
other side, because as I know that appearing before anybody, once your information goes down, they can see that the whole idea of what you're doing is right. So in life, you're totally morally correct.
Yeah.
You know, all right. You know, there may be instances where in an affidavit, for example, or a summons you've got, they haven't actually stated all of what's happening. They've only stated what they've needed. So once it actually comes out of what's actually been going on, then whoever's actually overviewing the case has the full story, not just one side.
Right. Well, when we went before the NBI, there was like a wad of a paper, foolscap sheets, like this much, and all of our videos had been watched, and that was the basis of the investigation and taking it. So, obviously, we will see what we will see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, back to the good stuff, and you're leaving today.
yep.
We'll be sorry to see you go, and you
Yeah,
will be coming back.
Yeah, I was just really starting to enjoy the lifestyle.
You're just
Yeah.
beginning to relax.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's time to go. But I'm also looking forward to joining my wife in Hong Kong. I haven't seen her for a few weeks now, and I only saw her for 9 days after she came back from the United States for
Right.
6 months. So we haven't had much time together. So
Right. So
it'll be
that'll
nice
good.
to get up
Are
there.
you going to have a few days in Hong Kong then?
7 days in Hong Kong, where
Okay.
my favourite city in the world. I know it better than Sydney, which I grew up in. And Carol, my wife, loves Hong Kong. And we both enjoy getting around, and we have the 7 days planned for... We've probably got 10 days of plans, and depending on what the weather does as to
Right.
what we do. So it'll be
great.
good, catching up with friends, catching up with
Well,
business acquaintances, and
We wish you very well on that, and a
Yeah.
safe journey home, and a great vacation.
Yeah.
And so we'll say goodbye to Kerry now, and look forward to the next time that we see him here. Kerry?
take care.